Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Dennis Bragg.
And I'm Jill Valley. Kids went back to school today in the Flathead Valley after that cyber attack forced a 3-day closure for safety reasons.
MTN's Jack Ginsburg continues to follow the story. He's at Columbia Falls High School today.
Tuesday morning, students and faculty were welcomed back to Columbia Falls High School, among many other schools across the Flathead Valley. Parker Green, a student here at Columbia Falls High, says there's been lots of talk in the hallways already since coming back. Some students are still on edge, while others feel completely safe.
Being back, it's just kind of normal for me. Some other kids, they're kind of nervous, but I don't think we have anything to be worried about.
Other students questioned why the threats came from overseas to Columbia Falls.
Why'd they pick Columbia Falls? Why'd they pick small town Montana?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. I don't think they're going to do anything.
Students here at the school say that they recognize that the cyber threats were out of the ordinary, but the way the community banded together and stayed calm was nothing new for Columbia Falls.
The community, we've all been together, everyone's supporting each other. We always come together, and any times, like with kids having cancer, we all come together. So this is just another thing where the community, we show how strong we are, we come together.
In Columbia Falls, Jack Ginsburg, MTN News.
Now, high school sports and other activities will also resume over the next few days in the Flathead, and the much anticipated Legends Field in Kalispell will make its football debut on Friday.
One person died, another was taken to the hospital after a Monday night crash in Missoula. Missoula police spokesman Travis Welsh says the one-vehicle crash happened at 11 o'clock last night at the intersection of Johnson and 13th Streets near Franklin School. A 20-year-old Missoula man was driving with a male passenger traveling north on Johnson when the vehicle went off the road. It clipped the corner of a house before going through a small shed and coming to rest in an alley. Welsh says the male driver was killed. The passenger was taken to the hospital but has since been released. 2 adults and a child were in the home at the time of the crash. They were not hurt. This accident remains under investigation. The name of the victim is not being publicly released. 2 people are dead and multiple children were hurt after a head-on crash near Glasgow this morning involving a school bus and a pickup truck. This crash happened around 6:40 in the morning on Highway 2. The Montana Highway Patrol says the female driver of the eastbound pickup truck crossed the center line and hit the westbound bus head-on. The speed limit on the 2-lane highway is 70 miles per hour, but the speeds of either vehicle unknown yet. Both drivers were killed. Up to 4 children on the bus went to the hospital. MHP believes the female driver may have been fatigued when this crash occurred. Well, we had another cool and cloudy day in western Montana. For a look at how things are shaping up for the rest of the week, we'll head on over to Chief Meteorologist Aaron Yost. Aaron.
We are looking at very similar conditions, Jill, for the next several days across western Montana as a large trough of low pressure remains in place, giving us more of this. But you know what? We'll take it. Haven't heard many complaints here in the weather department over the last several days with these cool and unsettled conditions. Take a look at Hamilton, our First Security Bank iCam. We've got our system moving through the region right now. You can see scattered mountain snow, valley rain showers, even some lightning strikes being picked up by our lightning tracker. A lot of grapple shower and activity out there today. Way up high in the atmosphere, all that static can create lightning too, which is, boy, what we're seeing with those convective showers. I've got the extended forecast coming up.
A hearing underway in a contested case with the Montana Department of Natural Resources and Conservation over that proposed water bottling plant in Creston. The issue over a decision to grant a water use permit to the Montana Artesian Water Company.
This is a permit that would allow the company to pull nearly 200 million gallons of bottled groundwater per year from the banks of the Flathead. As MTN's Nicole Miller reports, it's been an ongoing battle for more than a year between the company and people in the Flathead who filed legal objections with the department.
The hearing began with opening statements. Attorney with the United States Department of the Interior, who represents U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, in particular the Creston National Hatchery, objected to the application.
We are very concerned that this water will be harmed to the detriment of all of the fish that we provide throughout the United States.
An attorney representing multiple objectors who specializes in water, natural resources, and property law.
There's a number of criteria that are required for permits such as this one to be issued. Those permits require the applicant to meet its burden of proof on all of the statutory criteria in 85-2 311. That includes that water is physically available, that water is legally available, and that no other users will be adversely affected by the proposed new diversion of water. And in this case, we don't believe that the applicant met its burden of proof to show any of those things.
An independent consultant representing the applicant of the permit and owner of the Montana Artisan Water Company, Lou Weaver.
I anticipate we're going to have a couple of days of expert testimony to decide whether the application was complete, whether there are impacts that were not identified through this process.
Once the hearing comes to a final close, the department hearing examiner has up to 90 days to issue his decision. But this hearing is just getting underway, and over the next several days, expert testimony is expected from both sides. Reporting in Kalispell, Nicole Miller, MTN News.
The final order may also be appealed by either party in state district court. Testimony continues tomorrow. That hearing is open to the public. With 10% of the state's general fund expenditures up for being cut, tens of millions of dollars in programs that support the state's most vulnerable populations could go away.
There's a lot at stake as lawmakers consider those budget cuts, including a critical program for families. MTN's Augusta McDonald joins us live in the studio with more. Augusta?
Yeah, thanks, Dennis. Some of these programs have been around for decades. One of them, called Part C, serves hundreds of families across western Montana and the state, and actually brings matching federal dollars in that supplement state monies to provide early intervention services for infants and toddlers with developmental delays and disabilities. The Part C program packs a punch, using developmental services to give kids a better shot in life. There was shock and outrage here at the Child Development Center upon hearing that some of their most critical early intervention programs were on the chopping block.
We have never, ever seen cuts in Part C like this. Unfortunately, if Montana was to eliminate these services, we would be undesirably distinguished as the only state in the union that didn't provide this service.
One Missoula mom says that program helped her son, who was born with developmental problems, and gave their family independence.
Without those services, we would, I don't know where, he would be or I would be, or if he would be in an institution or something like that, because we wouldn't have the support. So it's been truly a lifesaver for our family.
Department of Public Health Information Officer John Ebelt says the situation is heartbreaking.
You just can't get to that dollar amount without there being tremendous impact, such as the Part C program, but many programs in many areas of our department.
Ebelt says the cuts are proportionately applied to each state agency, but when that breaks down, the Department of Public Health and Human Services has had to come up with $105 million in programs, which is 46% of the total savings that Governor Bullock is seeking. That's $226 million. Those numbers represent more than just dollars saved, accounting for programs like Part C that may be eliminated under this unusual budget cut proposal. The governor says on his website that some or all of these cuts may go into effect if lawmakers can't find what he feels are more reasonable solutions. To learn more about the many programs that are proposed to be cut and voice your opinion to lawmakers, check out that website, balancedbudgetmt.gov. Back to you.
Thanks, Augusta. The governor will start going through all those budget cuts agency by agency starting next week. A new landmark report from the Montana Department of Justice gives a comprehensive outline of the substance abuse issues in Montana. It took a year to finish this report and details the scope of substance abuse plaguing the state. According to the report, meth violations, methamphetamine, up over 500% in the past 5 years. Heroin has increased by over 1,500%. Attorney General Tim Fox hopes the report will lay the groundwork for new legislation and policies for dealing with drug abuse crimes. Fox says changes need to be made to how substance abuse is handled in the state.
The users, the abusers, if you will, they didn't set out to be criminals. They didn't set out to get hooked up into the justice system or to go to jail or prison. We want to make sure that we get them the help they need as early as we can.
If you'd like to read the full report, we have that up on our website.
Still ahead after the break, we'll take you to the University of Montana for a traditional Native American regalia ceremony held as part of American Indian Heritage Week.
And later in sports, football is back to Kalispell's Legends Stadium after cancellations last week. A lot more still to come here on KPAX.